the neck or a...
And here we go now. You can see the athleticism of the Australian team. They've surrounded the Finnish fighters. However,
we have the Israeli fighter.
The Israeli fighter, Ira Rogossi, absolutely
mercenary for the Australian team. Taking her time, but coming in strong.
Fantastic fighter there.
Skye there biding her time. Jessica, actually a new fighter for the Australian team, getting in there nice and strong. She's from Victoria in Australia.
Right.
She seems to be stuck in the middle there, getting some support from our Israeli friend.
Well, I think they don't have the size advantage against this big Finnish team, however.
Don't. But the Finnish lady, I think it would be Rusa from the Finnish
Rusa,
team, will be...
Oh, that's a big takedown there!
But with obviously Skye, which leaves us still 2-on-2 competition.
That's all even at the moment.
And we see a strap that's gotten loose on the Israelis' shield, which means that the
that's true.
Her punches will not be seemingly as strong. A nice kick to
Great
the
aggression there.
Jess
lots
holding on
I think she's going to try and wear down that big Finnish fighter.
Well, Jess is holding on tight, but it seems like her arms are a bit locked up. So as long as Jess can hold on there, the Australian fighter against the wall, and take one of them down with her, then she'll do fantastically. She's trying to trip, but unfortunately she's tripping against the wall. And she's doing a bit of a backwards kick to see what's going on. Nice strong punch there, but unfortunately glanced off her shield. As long as Jess continues this fight, it shall go well. They have broken now. No time to be turning your back on the larger fighter there.
She's in a bad position here with her back to the Finn.
As long as she keeps her strength up against that wall, or maybe rotating till she can get a hook. She didn't get a chance to hook. Oh, she's hooked onto there now. Few weak kicks, but it's those sabatons are going to be doing well for her. Fighting in her titanium armor, she spent a lot of money.
See the determination of that Finnish fighter trying to get the Australian fighter down, or the Israeli fighter down on the right there, but holding on very, very well. She does, of course. But it's only a problem if she gets behind it and tries to pull it off. If she's wrapped around it.
Nice shield punch from Jess across to the Finnish face. Not letting her, that Finnish fighter, do anything against her Israeli mercenary friend in the Australian team.
Well, this is going right to the wire.
She's definitely tiring out. This would be Jess's time to really throw her. She doesn't have any hook on the fence, and she's tired. But she's hooking her the wrong way. If she needs to get above that, the energy from Jess. She's a first-time fighter at Battle of the Nations and doing a fantastic job. Now is the time to be battling her down.
Now she can pull her opponent down, pull her away from this. If she can manage to push her out, that would be even better. The big Finn is holding on.
Push her almost the railing would be fantastic. Done.
And that's it, and it's done. There's 2 against 1 here. Now Finland in big trouble. The Australian team gang up side by side. They're away from the list now. They can go for a takedown. Even one fighter can go for a takedown, taking them both, and there's still one Australian standing. And they're down!
That is a fantastic display from the Australian team. Exhausted. Yes. Don't forget, Gavin, I have been there. Holding onto the wall and letting someone bash you sometimes is the only thing that holds your team up. Rusa moving out onto the center, but forward. They're taking their time, letting the Finnish come to them. The Israeli crossing through the center of the field.
She's going to need to use her speed in this one.
Oh, but now decides to think twice about that. The 2 girls fighting in the corner. It looks like...
I think Ira, the Israeli there, is really choosing her moment very, very carefully, but she's going to need to use her power to get behind.
She's keeping her eyes up. She's not...
Oh, that's a great down from the Israeli. Now with a numerical advantage.
How will they deal with this? The Finnish trying to get together in the corner.
I think once again they're going to try and grind them down. And that's called. And I believe it's in fact one of the Finns who has been down. So brings the fighters together to start the fight. And it is an early run there from Spain. The Australians looking a little bit confused and not knowing where to start. However, it's a great run there for a start. And you can see the Israeli mercenary moving around very swiftly and still being stalked in the middle there. Doesn't quite have that option. Great movement there from the Israeli, and there's some rushes there.
Jess definitely hitting hard, but at the same time taking some bad attacks from the Spanish fighter.
I think the smart thing that the Israeli mercenary can do is actually stay loose, because she is the runner of the team. Very, very strong with those charges. So I think if she pulls the bat, and now she's going to go into that unaware Spanish fighter. Great shot to the head there. However, it wasn't quite enough to take her down.
It's enough to knock them about and change up the fight a little, so it can definitely work.
In the middle. You can see the Australian hanging on to 2 Spaniards there. Very impressive. Big shots now from the Israeli mercenary against the Spaniard.
Distract her enough to make sure that she changes her targets, and the Israeli fighter will now do her best to, again, strike the second that the back is turned.
But you
and
can
pull
see
it
that's
down.
a big grab there from the Israeli mercenary. However, the Spaniard really is at full stretch, is now being attacked by the Australian. 2 Australians against 1 Spaniard, and vice versa on the other side.
Yes.
2 skirmishes happening there.
As long as that Australian holds on to the list and holds on strong, she'll be able to take it. Jess getting a
look
hook
at the
around.
punishment. Oh!
Jess has gone down with the other Spaniard.
Absolutely incredible. That leaves it 2 versus 2. Something's being held off there. I think that's an illegal hold. They will be split up. However, that Spaniard looks very, very worn out. The Israeli mercenary now trying to capitalize, really holding it down. She doesn't have the size advantage, but look at the athleticism. Driving into her. Going for the pull down. She doesn't have the backing of this, and the Spaniard is down. It's 2 against 1.
Fantastic job there by the Israeli. The only problem being, obviously, how much energy did she expend?
That's true. She put absolutely everything into that, and though it was amazing, it will have taken its toll on her stamina.
I think this is the Spanish runner we saw against the finish.
It wasn't. No, it was a different helmet. But you can see, and you've seen a great strategy there, changing the weapon to wear down the Spaniard. It's absolutely out there. Perfectly legal to do that, and I think the Spaniard is going to find herself in big trouble here unless she can take down the second Australian.
Oh, that shot was solid.
And that's it.
That Spaniard right down.
Spain versus Australia, a quick burst there, and that's the runner we were talking about earlier, as you can see from Spain, who's coming behind.
We can now see in the bottom of the screen, obviously the one in the left hand in the corner has changed up the Australians, repositioning their line, making sure that they still have a forward guard, not letting it get broken up by the runner there. 2 of them getting caught in the corner, the Israeli keeping that distance there, making sure that 2-hand axe person.
Oh, that's a great rush there from the Israeli. Very smart. She waited and waited for the perfect moment, took her down. That's a big takedown.
Now the Israeli back out again after being the Spaniard being re-engaged by one of the other spare Australian fighters. As long as she's aware of that Spaniard behind her, that's the biggest worry.
Oh, that's an easy chance there, but can't quite get the takedown by that very, very strategic and very fast Spanish run on the side. Once again, you can see Skye trying to wear down the Spanish fighter. Can they do it again? The Israeli mercenary striking down, digging in, now regrouping the Australians, thrusting against the list there. The Israeli mercenary breaks free and once again changes the strategy, goes for that axe. They can both go down and still have the advantage there. And that's stunning work. They're very impressive there from
members of Australia as another fighter. But nonetheless, the video still proves every single fighter doing an amazing job.
Yep.
And, we do apologize for almost every single fight for if we ever get anybody wrong.
So, big support there for the USA. Now this is going to be an amazing fight. This is one that I've been looking for. Australia versus the USA. Very aggressive fighters in the USA. Such athleticism from the Australians. I think you're going to see Ira used as a runner, very, very fast.
We do have these 2 mercenaries as part of the Australian team, doing the best we can, obviously, with the numbers that we have. We see the Americans now finally taking the field with the Australians already ready on the other side. A team full of mercenaries. Can't quite tell yet.
And we move into the 3 versus 3 fight now. And
smart movement.
Yeah.
Their feet, not quite engaging just yet.
Quite cautious that the Americans wanting to move the Australians back. However, you can see the 2 runners in the middle there. The fast American and that fast Israeli fighting for Australia. And they have broken up. Needs to be very careful and loose in the middle there. I think the US fighters are trying to trap them in there. Tries to go for a run. I think that will make such a difference at this point. However, a reasonable attack coming from the side here, but and it's so close this, they're not able to make use of the space they have.
The Australian captain trying to give them some advice. And the
American's gone down! She's tripped over!
That leads to a 3 versus 2.
Very, very unfortunate there.
And it's such a disappointing situation for them.
However,
repositioning from an American, it could still be anyone's game.
Absolutely, yeah. If anyone can get out of this situation, it's the United States. I think now the runner has gone to change. Big shots there coming from Ira.
it's very much that is Israeli tactic now.
Yep.
Has knocked their own teammate's sword out of their
Oh,
hand.
that's a very dangerous situation. So she needs to intervene as quickly as possible. That fighter needs to get out of there and replace.
She needs to move out. Mags is her. She's taking the weapon of the Israeli fighter.
Oh, now that's smart fighting. That is very, very smart there from the Israeli.
And the Israeli
now starts hacking it with her preferred weapon, the falchion. Now they've got the two Americans cornered there. Lots of aggression shown from Australia here, and you can see how they're trying to pull loose that US fighter, which they do.
Off the list. They both don't seem to be on the list, but they're not able to shift their weight on the
ground.
Yeah,
they need to move, and you can see she's just holding on to the list there.
Some great two-handed shots.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, losing the grip there.
Big kicks there coming from the Israeli fighter. However, I think they left it too long.
They're all getting a bit exhausted. Hopefully, one of them can be down pretty quickly. Otherwise, they're not going to do as well. The Americans, I believe, have more substitutions. Some smart shots there. Need to be careful for the back of the leg. But definitely weakening the knees there. We see the Israeli mercenary taking the American fighter one-on-one.
Yep.
One of the American captains there speaking, trying to shout some advice to his teammate.
And of course, it's very, very difficult to hear, not only because of the padding and the armour, but also because of the noise of the crowd. As you can see, have picked up quite a bit. We've got quite a nice turnout.
The Australians have the advantage here, but they're not able to really change this.
Yeah, they haven't used it in this.
This might be it. Oh, very close leg hooks there, but nothing happening.
Yeah.
This Israeli, I think, needs to do the Australian tactic of koala
by
simply grabbing the American and going down with it.
The American there seems to be in control of that skirmish going on.
I would think.
However, she is split up, and there's. I think the Israeli's going to try and catch her out, charging towards another opponent. Very, very fast. So
we saw a slight question from the American as she turned her head, and the Israeli mercenary nearly capitalized on that.
Yeah.
Both these Australians need to be aware that there is a loose American.
They've got to change the game plan here.
Whether or not they can do it. There seems to be a Danish fighter giving advice to the Australians. This will happen. Teammates love to get involved.
Okay, there's not quite enough teamwork here. This strong American team are holding off all the aggression from the Australians despite the advantage they have. You can see they're trying to grab on to that US fighter who's invariably going to go into the list and hold on to it. Hopefully, at some point.
Hopefully the Australian can hold that American in the corner. It's getting tough, but they're now at opposite sides of the list, which does complicate things.
Yeah.
The Israeli fighter has now got a polearm back and is now using that two-handed weapon to take down the American stuck in the corner on the Australian side. And we can see here, though.
You can see some big moves.
Trying to get around that helmet, not working. I don't think this Australian fighter is got the energy at the moment, repositioning herself to do some damage.
Well, now,
hopefully no one trips here. That would be very bad. Not letting that American fighter support their friend, but of course not at the same time not engaging. The Israeli fighter repositioning herself, kind of floating between the two. I think discussing with the team captains there.
Yeah, I can see that despite the advances they have, tiredness is setting in.
Maybe a bit of a lack in the experience of the Australians in being able to do something. But that being said, the mercenaries are incredibly experienced themselves.
So careful move there, not letting the American fighter get to her teammate, because of course the Israeli mercenary is striking down with that pole arm, and of course she's got her back to the action. So as she's kept her distance, she could be vulnerable for a charge.
She's now throwing in those shield punches, but not enough really to make a bit of a difference.
No. You can see the Israeli fighter there.
A bit confused as to which side to be helping.
Yeah.
Maybe the Australian fighter needs to try to reposition the Israeli fighter.
Yeah.
Oh, some solid
nice
shots in
shot there.
Trying to catch each other off guard.
Great aggression there from the US fighter.
The attention still being firmly placed in the corner.
Yeah.
As they know that is the tipping scale. We must remember that the Australians drew as when the American,
Yep.
sorry, with the Australian Eric Cortez not going down against the Swiss.
That's right.
The fight going on for 10 minutes.
Yep, and then being called as a draw, which is a big disappointment to both teams. Very unhappy about it.
But they need to make sure that they finish this round as fast as possible so this doesn't happen again.
Well, the thing is, they do have a numerical advantage at this point, so that might swing in their favour. They might get to the round for that.
A nice push, trying to take that American down while she was spinning. The sword arm now.
Oh, I think they might be able to capitalise on this if she can avoid
very smart
being
move
pulled
by the American.
to the. Yeah, that's smart work from the American.
Keeping the Australian in between.
She's got to get behind that American fighter.
There you go.
Tried to make her lose her footing there.
And she's not really bursting. She needs to get a burst shot in there, otherwise she's going to find herself taken out.
You can see the Israelis getting far too close to the list there.
The marshals need to be faster on that, communicating with the American. Not okay. This Israeli fighter, somehow the other fighters have transferred to this side
all
of
the way to the other side of the list.
Now it's all ending up on the American side. May not be good, as then the American team members can communicate. This Australian fighter in red with the red sleeves needs to start doing something a bit different. She seems to be occupying but not really changing the game.
Yeah, there's a lot of exhaustion setting in that.
Definitely. With the shorter American fighter really trying to get that polearm up and over the head to be able to grip him. Punches coming in strong against an American, but she's been taking a beating this entire round.
She's not going anywhere. That is one very strong American.
You can see the very lethargic kicks coming from both of them.
Yeah.
The Israeli now putting a lot of weight. Should really try grabbing at that, obviously, faceplate. Obviously not wanting to link around any part of it, but just keeping the pressure there. The Israeli now moving to hold the corner with that American. And,
kicks coming through there, but still not going to get anywhere unless they remove the American from the side of the list there. I think that's going to come to time if they are not careful.
They need to be very. The back of the legs are available. That fighter really should be going there, and not choosing to try to wrestle. The fantastic shots. Come on, do not. We can't relax at any point.
Well, what they can hope for is that American fighter will lose her weapon altogether.
Trying her best.
And you can say, a very good move there from the US fighter. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get round.
There needs to be a burst of energy. The Israeli fighter losing a bit of control from the US fighter, but still very sure on her feet. Trying to take the Australian fighter, trying to kick out the American fighter's legs. But it's not going either way.
I think they're both going to go down at this point. Okay, it is now down to 2 fighters against 1.
Has changed, but unfortunately that's not good enough. It needs to be either a 3-to-1 fight.
Well, and that is called there. I'm not sure what.
The American fighter is calling something out with the Israeli fighter. Not sure what's happening there. May need to reposition.
There was a mercenary. The thing is, they can see him there with the taban on the Sorkon.
Jupon.
Jupon, I beg your pardon. We are getting underway now, however, so they've those discussions there among the marshals would have given them a good chance to get back. You can see one Australian fighter hanging right back there.
Relaxing on the edge of the list. I wonder if it's a matter
of conserving energy. Why she's doing that. She wasn't in the first fight, so she's a fresh fighter.
Maybe just letting the attention drop a little. And choosing to eke the way up the edge of the field. Maybe we'll take the opportunity to cross fast.
A big attack there already from the Americans, and I'm very surprised that the Australians just allowed them to go charging in. It really surprises me. Great strikes there from Skye Burney. Took the first blows, but she needs to conserve her energy there. I think someone's been pulled. I'm not exactly sure why.
Very confusing as to what's going on here. She congratulated on me, as that was my first actual competition in
Right, here we start now with Russia versus Australia. This is going to be a very tense fight. You saw early the Russians dominating their round against the French. And you can see really taking the fight back to these Australians here, applying the pressure. A careful, cautious run from the Israeli mercenary.
I think she needed to be a bit more explosive with her action. She can't wait there. The Australians only holding on for dear life. I don't think they can do much.
No, I'm not sure that attack's going to go so well. However, great aggression there from Skye Burney.
Very down. But she kept her feet with her.
And then he goes out there.
the Russian runner making a smart decision, getting free and then trying to help out.
Yep.
Needs to be that the...
Well, it's all the pressure coming from the Russians now.
You see the marshal calling over some further marshals to get closer to make sure that they've got eyes on these fighters.
Yep.
To make sure that there's something, saying that there might be an issue with armor. It'd be good to double check this.
Yeah, I think so.
I can't see any issue there.
They've got closer eyes than we have, however, but the Night Marshal seems happy that there's nothing wrong. Some discussion going between the two Israelis there, Michael Eppelman and
Skye trying to reposition herself over to the right of your screen.
Yeah, big headbutts coming from Skye there.
A favourite of some of the Australians, but unfortunately not all that powerful, can just sometimes be shocking and be the only weapon that you have available.
That's right.
Repositioning from the Russian, a strike coming in here to Jess, I believe. Skye doing a fantastic job.
Oh, great. She needs to go for those legs, however.
Yeah, misplacing them on the head. Jess holding on for dear life.
Oh, there's not much more she'll be able to take of that. However, you're holding your ground. Skye needs to start moving against that Russian who is striking down that good movement.
Might be able to pull her down if she holds her now.
Oh, and that's very smart work there from the Australian trying to support her own teammate. However, it takes them both down. Very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate indeed for all involved. The women's triathlon finals.
It goes up to the second round of Russia versus Australia. Once again, the Russians going deep into Australian territory. The Russian looking to see the runner there. And already a takedown, but they're both down there. So it is 2 versus 2. And they need to be very careful not to fall over their own teammates there.
The Israeli fighter repositioning herself.
And there's just a loose Russian leg on the ground there, which is very close to the Australian fighter who is up. The
marshals need to make sure that they don't move, that these fighters don't move on the ground. All eyes are on the teams in the corner.
Yeah, the Ira, the Israeli mercenary for Australia, was really feeling some exhaustion now of that long polearm category, but she still shows the aggression.
And I think I believe this other Australian fighter's name was Mags. I may have that wrong. Something beginning with M. She is mercenary herself. You'll be able to notice the tag on the belt or the tag on her jupon there.
Yep.
Fantastically still pulling out these punches, but maybe not enough. Ira now getting caught off guard by that Russian.
Seeing a lot of this aggression, you can see. It could be very dangerous for the Russian moving out the way or trying to.
Well, that Australian needs to really push that Russian over. Unfortunately, might end up with a 1 versus 1. The Russian now has forced her into the corner. She had the advantage really with that down body, but couldn't capitalize on it. The Russians are incredible fighters.
It's very, very tense.
Skye holding on for dear life, but might be out here. Skye needs to free her head. Oh, sorry, no, it's not. It's not Skye. It's Ira. There seems to be a break there, some sort of issue. A kick coming after the marshal's flags are in.
It might have been for the safety of the Israeli mercenary. Although maybe something came off. It could have been the gauntlet there.
I'm not sure. She may have already dropped that gauntlet after the fight. We couldn't quite see it. Marshals conferring with one another as to what happened.
I really need vision from all angles there.
We apologize for some of the framing of these cameras. Some of them are static cameras. We see here both those fighters going down. Obviously, good job holding on to koalaing her as she goes down, but does lead to only a 2 versus 2. Ira doing her best to engage, but realizes there's no place being here. She needs to move around the side.
Yeah, it was getting close, though.
The Israelis do have a very a strange tactic by allowing some of their teammates to get bashed further, just to take that time to reassess the situation. But with some of the Australians, it can wear on. We see now the fight continuing with the 2 Australian fighters and the 2 Russian fighters.
This is close. Some fatigue setting in. It may go to another 10-minute call, in which case, as the Russians have the advantage of 1 round, the victory will go to them.
Which is why Ira, I think, is stepping up the game and hitting hard. The Australian fighter holding on, but she's caught from behind, not really able to do much. Ira needs to start hitting, I think, a little bit harder. She doesn't have maybe the support of some of the other Israeli fighters that she's used to.
I think she doesn't have the bulk of these Russian fighters either, so she's probably careful not to get in too many grappling situations. You can see the size difference between those two fighters.
Indeed. It's very hard for her to do her job as a runner, especially only in a 3 versus 3 match. She needs to be careful that she doesn't get pushed back over the fighters, as this Russian, I think, is aiming to do. And she's getting very close. Both teams move out of the way. Ira keeping her feet fantastically done. And getting to the edge of the list. Trying to disengage now. I think her sword arm is caught.
Yeah.
If she can disengage and head back before that Russian can catch her, then she might be able to change the tide. Kicking to the back of the leg, I would advise, if she does get to reposition, she might be able to take that Russian down. Ooh, a lot of pressure happening there.
Oh, look at that. All coming down.
She's unable to get her hands
the
up.
Israeli mercenary. That's going to be very difficult for her to get out of this position. The Russian needs to get it down as quickly as possible. However, she has held up. That's incredible work from this Israeli.
She gets to that list and get her arm round. She has done amazing, but she's not holding on. Maybe a bit too much training for IMCF. That isn't allowed there.
That's incredible work staying up. The Russians still starting to get fatigued.
And some fantastic shots there, but very smooth, slippery work from the Israeli. We're missing the action in the other corner, but it's not really going anywhere. Just holding position, some legs.
It is actually in the
corner.
So both corners of that side of the list. Which on one hand does make the job of the marshals a bit easier. This one may go to time, as I said, and it's only going to, if the Russians do go through, it's only going to be a problem for them.
Again, nearly the Israeli going down. If she goes down, she should take the...
Oh, it's very close. They're both down, so it's now 1 versus 1.
This
Israeli very unlucky there.
Very tense fight. The Israeli caught her weapon underneath the... against the Russian. This now becomes a one-on-one with, I would think, probably the least active fighters here from Russia and Australia.
You see some frustration from the Israeli fighter there.
I do know Ira, a very emotional character, puts her all into every fight. Might be a little distraught about going down. We'll be covering the corner action as soon as we can get.
That's where it may, in fact, be one of the Russians. No, we can see now.
Some strong work on the shoulder there.
Good movement
there. Has to really hold on to the edge of the list. I don't believe this Australian fighter has much left in her, but...
Oh, that's some big work there, but she's holding on. This Russian is going to use all of her energy. She's got her twisted right round.
She's even going to try to push her out. She's regained it, getting her composure, getting another weapon. She seems to have dropped her weapon.
Right.
Needs to get that arm over the list again.
Yep.
To get that weapon in her hand. Weapon facing the wrong way. But nonetheless.
Yeah, that's. I'm not sure if that's the right weapon to choose. I think should have been better off getting a falch on there.
Michael Morgula's giving her some advice, telling her how to do it, how to beat. It's one thing giving advice, and it's another thing being able to apply it in the center of the fight. The exhaustion, would be hell for these two. Becoming a bit of a wrestling match here. You can see the Russian really trying to hook the body and twist, but there's not much. There's not much to be won here by holding on. She needs to be able to burst out. Russian, to be honest, could disengage and actually still win this round if it was just time.
It's impressive work from this Russian. Very tactical fight.
The marshal pushing Michael Morgula's back.
Yeah, he's got to move back. He can't be so close.
Not wanting to listen at all, but...
That said, I mean, you can be as emotional as you want, but you cannot interfere with the job of the marshals. Yes, he does have to be in a position to hand weapons to fighters. However, it's not required at the moment. In fact, the axe was dropped, so I stand corrected.
I think she dropped it to switch that falchion. As the axe, it does get caught on a lot of things. An advantage when using it wisely, but not otherwise. It's one of these a fight that I would think if the Australian could just go down with the Russian at the same time, it would be a draw. Oh, she now needs to let go. She needs to let go, grab onto that Russian fighter and take her down with her. Holding onto this is not doing them any favors.
And they may go to draw this point. Where the Russian is getting the energy from, I do not know.
To be honest, I think she's using her weight. The Australian are all together communicating, whether they choose to stay together. They're moving together in a small bunch.
Moving out now, but you can see that the Australians have spread out.
Skye in the centre, usually a runner. It'll be interesting to see if she stays put.
I think two of the Czechs have gone for her.
This fighter, he might be, yeah, that is Jess.
She couldn't quite get a grip on the Czech fighter. However, it's gone to the list now.
Czech fighter really laying in some solid shield punches there to the face of Skye. But these helmets, very strong helmets, able to deal with most of the energy.
You can see that's now Ira, the energetic Israeli mercenary, who will be looking to get a quick takedown and start her bursts and charges.
Jess behind Skye there, rotating the Czech into the corner.
That's very close at the moment.
The advantage, I would think, to Skye.
Yep.
There we go, Skye obviously hacking at the back of that Czech fighter.
Yeah.
She needs to focus more on the shoulder to make sure
she does, yeah.
She's weakest there.
You can see there now the Australian fighter in a difficult position. All the weight being put down on her.
It looks like one of the Czech fighters has been downed. I can't see exactly, but there seems to be a spare Australian.
Looks like
yes.
Now that, yeah, the Israeli mercenary will be able to, I think she's going to change her weapon for a polearm.
Jess still hacking at the legs, looking to weaken, especially as the Czech turned around.
However, the shots have been blocked there. Great work from the Czech fighter.
Skye is now free. Jess being pushed down.
But they're trying to get all that big Czech fighter. It's not going to be easy. So intervening there, getting...
I think Skye needs...
I think she's looking to take both of them down. However, she may have gone down herself. I can't quite see it.
No, Skye seems
looks like she's sat on her feet. Amazing work there from the Australian.
Jess was holding on. Oh, no, the marshals may have stopped her.
The marshals may have grounded her. So it is down to 1 versus 1. He'd now gone back to that foul song, which is quite lucky. But both holding on to the list here. Certainly the size and weight is the advantage for Czech Republic. If Ira can just get away from that list, she'll be able to use a run-up and charge. Getting instruction there.
Oh, nearly a trip. There is no arm on that list from the Czech fighter, so Ira really needs to take that advantage.
The thing is, the right arm is wrapped around Ira, so I think it will be very difficult for her to... You can see that she's got the weapon right behind her back.
And, marshals need to keep an eye and make sure that the Czech fighter does not grab her own falchion.
This is going to be very difficult now for Australia.
We'll be very, very worried every time Ira takes her hand off her arm off the list.
Yeah.
Czech fighter doing their darndest. They're getting some nice punches into the...
each other in a number of competitions. They are not training partners.
And they wouldn't have been put into Russia's teams? Are we now cut to... Sorry to interrupt my own self, but the interaction here between...
So we get an early charge there from the Australians, who well, had an advantage in the last round, but were not able to keep it. So.
One Czech fighter already down.
That's great work there from Australia, and a huge charge there right now to the Czech fighter to help out the Israeli mercenary. Great work there from the Australians. However,
she's down already, but unfortunately the Australian went down with her, so it's now a 2-1 fight.
Oh, it's a big kick there. Wonderful work there from the Australian team. And all they need to do now is get her away from that. I think the Australian fighter is going to go for the koala, as you said. How apt is that?
The Czech has not been able to grab onto the list.
I'm putting all the pressure on that, and that is
fantastic.
Good to that one. And yes, the 3 versus 3 has started as we look over there now.
Meeting in the centre with no real outcome. Some
nice
fast
aggression
movements
there from the runner there.
Skye getting a bit caught in the corner there again, like last fight. Looking for a trip, and doesn't eventuate to anything.
Yeah.
It
appears that there are skirmishes through, and that's a dangerous move there.
Skye not choosing to chase, but instead choosing to try and weaken the Czech fighter, re-engaging with another fighter to see if she can support.
Well, that's a smart move there.
Trying to get this Czech fighter off Ira.
Yeah. That's Australian now, and there could be a big takedown here.
Looks like Skye was able to down.
Oh, that is massive.
So now we have
big work now for the Australians, who get closer and closer to the end of this fight.
Marshall's jumping on the list to make sure that they got great vision.
God, that could be.
It could be anybody's fight still, but
this is it. You can see how they're holding on, but it appears that the 2 fighters have been broken, and that's the end of it. And it's a victory for Australia.
Congratulations to them, well earned. They're going to be celebrating hard tonight.
Absolutely amazing fight there. Great result for the Australians.
I think no real question about that. They fought every one of those rounds as strongly as they could have.
Oh, that is amazing teamwork there with two mercenary fighters, one from Israel and one from Poland. Stunning work there, and that would be Eric Cortés there. That was, to remind you, the fighter in the black armour yesterday who simply would not go down.
You can see Jess there with the red hair doing amazingly well in the fight, congratulating her teammate. I don't think a single one of them will be disappointed with their performance.
Oh, this is a great result for Australia.